went to the Queen to tell her her subjects had no bread. Do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
Here, take the bomb.
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people. Good morning, peasant. There's one peasant online with us. Welcome. I want to know who that is. Who's number one? Is that us?
I think so.
Are we streaming to ourselves? Hey, man, we're every day between 6:30 and 6:40. I mean, we're pretty good. Actually, we're usually closer to 6:30, to be honest. Pony Boy, it's you. Welcome. Good to have you. Man, every morning this week. What was that?
I just put something in my mouth.
I look over at you. You spit something out.
Dude, I'm not a radio guy.
That caught me off guard. I was like, what's he doing? He's over there like, chucking that. Give me your hand.
I put my chips away because I didn't want to have.
Who eats chips at 6:30 a.m.? You know what I mean? Like,
And I took a bite of something else right before I was getting ready to talk, and I was like, well, that's not going to work, so I spit it out.
what do you have over there? Maui onion? What's going on? Not a health show. I drink my Coke. Ron eats his chips for breakfast. Dude. Oh, man. We have a great time. Shantini, welcome. John Atakis, welcome. I can pronounce that last name. One of the few people who can't. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we got a little word from Somalia. Apparently, the United States cuts is causing them some real grief.
Apparently, USAID cuts have been harming third world nations that never bothered to develop their own economies while they were on the dole. Hodan Osman, president of the Somali Development and Reconstruction Bank, says that those cuts have had a severe impact on her country's economy. Somalia. They've been receiving development aid. This is separate from humanitarian aid. For at least 43 years from U.S. taxpayers, and we have been the single largest donors to aid in that nation. By the way, 43 years? That's longer than my children receive development money from me. I think it's time for the little boys to act like grown-ups now, and I'm sure that after nearly half a century of U.S.-funded economic development, they actually have a developed economy. Wouldn't you think?
You'd think.
43
years
have been harming third world nations that never bothered to develop.
Do we have any idea what Somalia exports?
You know what's hilarious about that? You asked that question, and that's an exact question on a trivia pursuit game I played in prison. And I don't remember the answer. I think it's coffee beans.
Okay.
Yeah. That oddly enough, that exact question was on one of the trivia cards that I played with my Al Qaeda friend. He knew the answer. Yeah. What was hilarious was I really had European history, Christian history, and American history down. He had Asian and anything dealing with Islam down. Like there'd be some random question like, name a country, name a capital, name a city in Tehran over 1 million people or name a city in Iran that's not Tehran that starts with a T with over 1 million people. And he'd be like, well, that's clearly Tajikistan. To be like, okay.
Some town you never heard of.
Yeah, you lost me at Tehran. You know what I mean? Like, okay. So apparently these USAID cuts are making a real impact. I mean, they're causing Somalia to have to take a deep look at their budget. But America is having some resounding success. Apparently, if you watch the pennies, the dollars take care of themselves.
Very contrary to what everyone said. We had for the fiscal year last year, we had a lower deficit than we did the previous fiscal year. And it's as Warren Buffett says, when people ask him, how do you lose weight? You eat less, exercise more. How do you control the budget deficit? You spend less or control spending and grow more. And you're Mr. Growth. So if we can keep the spending flat to down and grow at least a nominal 5%, maybe higher
5%
than our deficit to GDP. It ended the fiscal year with a 5 in front of it, down from the 6.4, 6.5, which was the worst when we weren't in a recession, weren't at war. And I think we could make substantial progress again. And, I would hope we could be in the low 5s or something with a 4 in it for next year.
Yeah. Well, promises made.
Very contrary to what
5% growth is pretty good. Like,
That's huge.
yeah, like I'm pretty sure Obama was like, hey, get used to 2.
Yeah.
And 3 is like, whoa, raise interest rates.
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear. So they're like, okay, spending's down. Good thing.
Where's the normal balancing point? Isn't it like 2.5?
Well, it should be 0. If the peasants were happy, it would be 0. An ounce of gold is an ounce of gold. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But in a growth economy, isn't it right around 2 point something?
Well, Obama wanted us at 2. They want 3.
Okay.
3 is like growth.
I guess the point is 5 is incredible.
Yeah, we can, we might be able to balance the budget if we can just, get our growth to be phenomenal, like China level oriented, and keep the spending flat. Now, on the other hand, they are doing a good job. Look at this chart that the Department of Treasury put out. Not propaganda at all, I'm certain. President Trump is taking control of unwieldy government spending to get the U.S. fiscal house in order. In response to financial markets have cheered the president's accomplishments with benchmark Treasury yields making new intra-year lows. So this is, some chart, quarter spending for 2024 for Biden. And then Trump, he's below the 0 line, just barely above it, quarter 2. It's pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems legit to me, in my household budget, if we watch the pennies, the dollars take care of themselves.
Yep.
Now, this doesn't change Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats from not wanting to do this shutdown because they've got a little spending problem. They want to dump $1.5 trillion into healthcare. Now, the talking point on the left is it's just for healthcare. It's just going to kind of extend what we're doing and Americans will have healthcare. And on the right, they're like, yeah, except you want to carve out some of that money for illegal aliens who aren't supposed to get healthcare. And you guys won't say it the quiet part out loud. That's what the money's really for. You're trying to protect the constituency. So this Lindell TV reporter, and we're going to have to learn her name because she's popping up everywhere now. She's like starting to get little hit interviews. She's the one who asked Nancy Pelosi about January 6th.
Oh, that chick.
Yes. So yes, exactly. So she's asking Hakeem Jeffries about the shutdown.
Can you just speak to some of the programs that Democrats want funding for in the $1.5 trillion list of demands? We've heard things like $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe, $3.9 million for LGBTQ democracy grants in the Balkans, things like this. You guys say this is about saving healthcare, but how do these pet projects fit
Yeah, we have no idea what you're talking about, or what Republican extremists fed you those talking points. But the reality is what we are doing is defending the health care of the American people. Yeah, we do want to restore the fact that the largest cut to Medicaid in American history has been visited upon the American people by Donald Trump and Republicans, even though they promised to love and cherish Medicaid. But instead of doing that, they cut about $1 trillion from Medicaid. And as a result of that fact, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all across the country, including in Republican states like Georgia, like Alabama, and Republican states all across the country.
Can you name some others?
And Republicans have visited the largest cut to Medicaid in American history on their own people. That's what we want to restore. We want to avoid the fact that because of what Republicans did in their one big ugly bill, what they did is to trigger the possibility of a $536 billion cut to Medicare.
I think they triggered
because
something.
Republicans have put a bullseye on Medicare and Social Security since those earned benefits were created. And yet we have a problem with the fact that Republicans want to devastate the Medicare of the American people. And why did they do that? Why did they cut Medicaid by almost $1 trillion?
To balance the budget?
They want to reward their billionaire donors with massive tax breaks.
Oh, I knew there was going to be some reason.
And they made those massive tax breaks permanent, while at the same time can't even be bothered to extend Affordable Care Act tax credits for working class Americans who are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles. The American people know that Democrats are fighting for them, for working class America, for middle class America, and for everyday Americans, and that Republicans continue to show up for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected.
Okay, so
Can you just
hold
speak
this
to
speech
some of
in
the
your head. Okay? Hakeem Jeffries was like, all the Republicans' fault. We want to restore health care. We want to restore Medicaid cuts or Medicaid credits.
Sure.
That is something that's going on. Like, people's payments are going to go up on Obamacare. If you're on that program, I don't know what to say. Do something different. I don't know. Like, to me, if you're paying a premium, $500-$600 plus a month, which from what I'm reading, it's like $1,000 a month.
Hold on. I'm on this Obamacare and I can tell you what's going to happen.
Tell us.
So, right now, everybody that's on Obamacare only pays like 20% of the premium.
Okay.
As long as you pay the premium, are on the program, and pay your taxes correctly. If you don't pay your taxes correctly, or you're not on the program, you end up paying the full premium.
Okay.
It's like $5,000 instead of $1,000, right? Well, I don't have another option. I'm not allowed to go on the private market. This is my only option.
Why?
Because, are you kidding me? You don't know this?
Why? I don't have insurance. I don't have Obamacare.
Well, if you don't, you just have to pay it through your taxes.
What? No, you don't. They got rid of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, they cannot force commercial activity. This is a Supreme Court decision. They got rid of the mandate. They got rid of the whole thing.
No. It's not forcing commercial activity. It removes a deduction from your taxes.
But you're spending a good bajillion dollars. There's zero. I use Christian Health Ministry.
Okay.
Anyways.
Let's move on. But what I'm saying, what I'm trying to tell you is that the people on Obamacare don't have a choice.
Here's what I know. I have a family member who's a very, very successful insurance broker, health insurance.
Okay.
This is all he does. He's like, open enrollment starts, and he and his office just bury themselves in the phones and sign up 5,000 people.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm going to be calling one of those dudes.
Okay. He uses Christian Health Ministries because he, who has been and helped thousands of people get insurance, says there's no better deal out there. Nobody should be buying real insurance. But that's his livelihood. So he sells it. And for the most part, the people he sells it for, the government pays for it. So the government's paying his commissions.
I'm going to be looking into that.
Anybody who wants to sit and talk to him about insurance, he just tells them to call the health share program.
Okay.
It's like, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. Frazier says, or Carlite says, happy Thursday, everyone. Reposted. Yes, please repost the show. It definitely makes a difference in our views. Yeah, please repost the show, like it, comment. Frazier, good morning, peasants. May your porridge be thick and your taxes light. That's a good one. Pony Boy, they export migrants, Somalia. There's more migrants coming out than coffee beans. Who knows? Maraizol, he doesn't do any research. I'm assuming you're talking about Hakeem Jeffries. I was
going to ask you what his background is, because I'm looking at him and listening to him. I'm like, where did he come from? You know, he talks like an Obama wannabe. Did he ever have like a real job in his past life?
Yeah. I don't know what his real job was, but there are some really funny pictures of him like this. See this?
I see it. I don't really.
This is the Hakeem Jeffries that we all. I don't know. He's got a bunch of these pictures. He's like just a New York street kid is kind of what he reminds me of. I don't know.
Well, that's what he reminds me of too. And I'm like, how did he get here?
He has clearly watched a lot of Obama speeches.
Oh yeah.
It's got the thing going on. All right. So on CNN, they had a panel discussion, and Lydia Moynihan lays out on CNN exactly what it is that the Democrats are hoping to get in this renegotiation shutdown lever thing they're doing. And kind of debunks this idea where Hakeem Jeffries like, what kind of right-wing talking points are you saying? Now, these are right-wing talking points. They're on CNN, and they're pretty much going unchallenged.
Is it time for Trump? I mean, he could be the person that just says, okay, let's get this done.
Well, how many Democrats have voted for the CR? It was good enough for them to vote on in March, and now something has changed, and they're not willing to vote on the same CR that they were once willing to support. And I think it's pretty clear that it's Schumer and a lot of Democrats who are bowing to the left flank of their party, people who want to see movement and want to see action. And their whole framework for why they should do this is really flawed. As Obama said, elections have consequences. And they basically want to undo the rightfully passed big, beautiful bill the Republicans signed into law. That is what this.
I'm totally going to interrupt this clip because I just heard of it. It's consequences. So there's an actual dialect. This is like a liberal dialect. And there's people who have written like PhD dissertations analyzing like news and TV. Yeah. And there's this certain dialect where they're like, there's consequences to the things you do. And anyways, if you listen, you'll hear it really prominent on MSNBC. You'll hear it pretty prominent on CNN. You rarely hear it on Fox News. You almost never hear it on Newsmax. Right. It's a straight up dialect, like a Southern accent. It's this, what I just kind of did, faking it's this liberal accent. It comes out of academia. It's like been sourced.
Right. They probably demo for it.
Yeah. It's like this, it's this non-offensive, like you put the emphasis in the wrong spots. So we don't know if you're asking a question or making a statement. And it gives you a chance to like back out of anything. Cause
it's just like a valley girl.
Whole effort that they are making. And yes, it's about healthcare, but there's also all kinds of pork actually that is in this bill. There's 3.9 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Balkans, 13.4 million for civic engagements in Zimbabwe, 2.9 million for desert locust relocation in Africa. And
I know I'm real big on paying people to relocate locusts.
They're the ones who have time and time again, now after 11 votes, been
Rod, what are we doing? We're making pennies here. We could be relocating locusts for millions of dollars. What are we doing?
Willing to work with the GOP.
Okay. Okay, you read the bill. I love that. Locusts, relocating locusts. Now,
well, you have to be creative when you're writing these grant proposals.
Yeah. Now, this is Representative Clark, and she is the whip for the Democrats. She was on some interview a week ago and said the quiet part out loud. Again, Bernie Sanders and a couple of these other Democrats will just say the thing that they're not supposed to say that everyone else is denying. Like Hakeem Jeffries is up there bold facing. That's not the case. We are not using this as a lever to try to get our way. But it's been said.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt just posted a clip of an interview that you did on Fox last week. You were answering a question from Fox's Chad Pergram about blame for the shutdown. I want to look at the post here.
I mean, the shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have.
Leavitt is looking especially at that last bit you said there, saying the Democrats, quote, are now admitting that they are intentionally causing American families to suffer with their reckless government shutdown. What's your response to that?
Well, that is right out of her playbook of half-truths, taking things out of context, and not being straight with the American people. And she knows what I said.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt just posted a
clip. She knows what I said. Yeah, I know. She posted it. Are you? It's just half-truths. What's the half-truth?
We all know what you said.
Yeah, we all know what you said. What's the half-truth? Now, I've got to say, if you go back to 2020 and you go back to the John Fetterman Mehmet Oz election in Pennsylvania, this was one of the. I didn't even know what to think. This is an important swing state, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Trump needs to win it. Yeah. Right. It's got some of the worst allegations of cheating fraud historically that you ever see. This is where the tractor trailer of ballots coming from New York to Philadelphia.
So are we going to play some clip before we knew anything about Fetterman?
Well, here's the thing. Fetterman had a stroke, right?
Yeah.
His pedigree is pretty lame. He marries a Brazilian woman. She's got, I think she comes from a little bit of money. He's got like an in-law or some family with money. He's only ever worked for family. He became a small town mayor. His family basically, he had his little $40,000 a year salary as some tiny town mayor in Pennsylvania. And then his family paid another $60,000, so he could have a lifestyle. So he's never actually like worked. I mean, if he hasn't had a career. He's been a community activist, community politician, pretty much his whole career. Okay. Now, there's two things. One, in some situations, this can completely disconnect you from the peasant class, the land, the actual work, the labor, that kind of thing. On another hand, it's also very possible that this man has talked to thousands of peasants and tried to advocate for their needs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When he ran for Senate, I didn't get a chance to see him before he went mute. Okay.
Right.
He had this stroke and it was like, you need to drop out. You can't talk.
That's about when I saw him the first time too. And my first thought was, is the Democrat Party trying to kill this guy?
Dude, it was when they had they delayed their debate till after early voting had started. The top Google search after the debate for like 48 hours was, how do I change my vote? Okay. He wouldn't have won had they had that debate even a week earlier before early voting started. Okay. Yeah. And on top of that, there's probably some shenanigans in the 2020 election. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, why deny it now? I already went to prison for it. You know what I mean? So I really thought Fetterman, you know, he's going to get this seat, but he won it again. As he's recovered from this stroke, he's gotten better and better. This is not what I expected from a Democrat politician, but it's what I would expect if my second line of thought that, you know, he's met with thousands of people and just knows the peasants because he does talk to them and he does sympathize. You know what I mean? Like he does.
And won't deny that reality.
He views himself as a peasant. I mean, he's in the freaking Capitol wearing a hoodie and shorts right now. Okay. So you got to give a little bit of chutzpah to the guy. Listen to this. This is stunning from a Democrat senator to talk like this.
I've heard that the government is shut down. Is that true? What do you? Oh, it's fake news. What? Yeah.
What do you say to Democrats who have blocked this bill now 11 times?
Wrong, respectfully wrong to do that. Open up the government. I believe John Thune is an honorable man, and I do believe we could have a serious conversation to talk about extending these tax credits. I've always supported that. You could, check my record. I vote for that. And now no one can control what the president wants to do. I mean, he's going to do what he's going to, whatever. But I do believe it's entirely appropriate now. Open it back up. We have to now, even people in my state and SNAP is now like people need that to eat. And now this is
okay.
SNAP is.
What's great about this is Fetterman will misspeak. I misspeak. I mean, I'm like kings and kings in our opening thing. I've never changed it back to kings and queens, right? You don't misspeak. But he's like my state and earth. I love that.
Now, like people need that to eat. And now this is about who's winning. Who's like, well, America's losing.
Are Democrats' position hurting your constituents right now?
I'm saying that, my wife has dedicated her professional career for food insecurity. And right now she's doing it right now as we're speaking. And now food insecurity is a real thing. I see that. I mean, people live that. And now because we're having this political back and forth and it's wrong. And that's why I do believe we can achieve extending those tax credits. And now that's where we need to be right now. We're into the month of that. That's a core responsibility. Open it up. It's crazy.
Senator, what message does it send that lawmakers are going home every weekend? Is it time to kind of batten down the hatches and stay here to get this done?
What I'm saying is like there are no winners here. It's not getting better every day here. People are going to start to get really hungry, and I've been fully committed to fund, SNAP, and now fund SNAP, open up the government, and we don't have to worry about this too. I'd love to. Where's the Capitol Police? I think we have some here. They're not getting paid right now either. There's other people not going to get paid. It's like that impacts real people and these important kinds of jobs. This is just bad political theater. Open it up.
Is it frustrating to you that your party doesn't seem to be changing its strategy on this? We're 21 days in now.
It is frustrating, but that's small compared to people that rely on SNAP or their next paycheck. That's absolutely, and we're getting paid. Yeah, so
do you have confidence in Chuck Schumer?
And yes, of course, he's our leader. And I believe.
Hold on, let's go back to that.
He's our.
Would you like to see the hostage video?
Leader. And I believe we happen to disagree.
Let's go back.
Do you have confidence in Chuck Schumer?
And yes, of course, he's our leader. And I believe we happen to disagree in this. We happen to agree back in March. We had that conversation. I really led that charge. We got to keep it open. And I said, I'll be back here in the fall. And it's shouldn't be here doing
Senator,
it.
some of your Republican colleagues have proposed nuking the filibuster to force the government to reopen. What do you?
Yeah, of course. Carve it out for that. Absolutely. We ran on that. We ran on killing the filibuster. Now we love it. It's like carve it out so we can move on. And I support it because it makes it more difficult to shut the government down in the future. And that's where it's entirely appropriate. And I don't want to hear any Democrat clutching their pearls about the filibuster. We all ran on it. I ran on that that's, yeah.
Are you surprised that vote after vote, it's just been three?
Another quiet part out loud. No, Brooklyn, we won't get rid of filibuster. Democracy.
When he said, I'll be back here in the fall, was that a quiet part out loud? Or what was he talking about there?
He's just talking about now. Because in the spring, they had to do one of these CRs.
I know, but
it's like in the fall, we'll be doing another CR. And here we are in the fall doing another CR.
Okay.
It's like, I'll be back for the other CR. Everybody will.
Democrats, time and again, who voted for this bill. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it's Groundhog Day. And I'm just saying, and it's not entertaining. That's a great movie, but this is shitty. It's like now real damage are now touching the lives of regular Americans, and we all lose. And it's embarrassing to our allies and to our enemies abroad.
Stunning. Like, you listen to that and it's like, that's not Hakeem Jeffries, is it? It's like, open the government now, extend the tax credits. I'll vote for it. I'll negotiate it, but let's open the government. Now, what did we learn yesterday? The largest employer in the state of Pennsylvania is who, Ron? The federal government. Who's the second largest employer? The state government. Yeah. So Fetterman is being very politically savvy right now for a borderline red state, if not very red state, Pennsylvania. Right now, he's a blue dog Democrat. He's doing, if I was an oil worker, right, on an oil rig, and I saw John Fetterman and he's pro-union and he's pro this and pro that, and I'm like, he doesn't do the stupid things. He doesn't do the transgender sports things. I'll vote for him. He's in Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
He's willing to open the government up. He's like, I have never been as surprised by a politician as I have by Fetterman. I wrote him off completely. I thought, brain dead, totally socialist, gonna be a problem. As he's gotten his voice back, I think he even shocked his own Democrat party. They're like, oh, we should have interviewed him better. You know what I mean? Like, we missed this. We couldn't talk. We just figured he'd go along to get along, right? Yeah. So I'm shocked. I'm really, truly shocked at Fetterman's comeback. Now, Mandami over in New York is running this three-way race right now. You've got Siwali, who's the leader of the Guardian Angels. Have you heard of those people, or whatever they're called? They wear the red jackets and go in the subways and prevent crime. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
So in New York back in the 70s and 80s.
Sounds like some straight edgers or something.
Well, it is, right? It's back in the 70s and 80s when like everybody was getting mugged on the subway, it was unsafe. Before Giuliani got elected, you had these guys that would go around wearing red jackets. And I think they called themselves Guardian Angels. Anyways.
There was a guy here in Seattle that was doing that. He was like the Caped Avenger.
Well, yeah, that's because we can fight in the street. Right? It's because we can legally have a fist fight. As long as there's no weapons, you can pull the dukes in downtown Seattle. So people do. They go out and have street fights in downtown Seattle. The cops sit there and cheer it on. As long as both parties are consenting, beat the shit out of each other.
It's like WWE.
It is. That guy would wear a cape. He was a former UFC fighter, and he'd run around in a cape and be Seattle's super fighter at night. You should pull up a clip. Well, no, don't worry about it.
I think he might be in jail now.
So anyways, Sewall's like the guardian angel. They used to go on the subway and prevent muggings and stuff like that. And they stopped working for years, but under de Blasio, they kind of started coming out again. So he's running. I think this is his second or third time running.
Is he a dancer?
No, but he's just a hardcore straight edge.
Okay.
So and then you've got Andrew Cuomo, who lost the primary for the Democrat. Now he's running as the Democrat independent candidate, right? Now, this was a really good debate. Mandami's a scary character.
Yeah.
Right. He's a scary character because he's
just full communist.
Yeah. Okay. and this is Cuomo, who we also don't particularly have a lot of affinity for, love for.
Loves euthanasia.
The farther they go into crazy land, and the farther they go into you don't know what gender you are, everything's a construct, blah, 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 right? The farther they go, the more someone like Andrew Cuomo's like, I can get down with that. Which is, I mean, this guy's a genocidal maniac killing grandma in nursing homes. And here I am like, I'd rather have Cuomo for mayor. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Insanity. It's insanity.
It is insanity.
Listen to this, though.
I understand my friend doesn't really understand government. The government doesn't build housing in New York City.
Not if it's you.
No, legally, there are jurisdictions. The governor doesn't pick up trash. He doesn't run the fire department. That's what the mayor does. The mayor builds housing. The state allocates funding for localities. And I allocated more funding for housing than any governor in the history of the state of New York. All right? I did things. You have never had a job. You've never accomplished anything. There's no reason to believe you have any merit or qualification for 8.5 million lives. You don't know how to run a government. You don't know how to handle an emergency. And you've literally never proposed a bill on anything that you're not talking about in your campaign. You had the worst attendance record in the assembly. And you gave yourselves the highest raise in the United States of America. You went from $110,000 to $140,000, and then you never showed up for work, and you missed 80% of the votes. Shame on you. Shame on you.
That's pretty good. It was just a couple years ago I was calling for Andrew Cuomo in handcuffs, but now let's make him mayor. Truth is stranger than fiction. This whole thing is just crazy, isn't it? Right? You go from brain dead using Google in a debate to the most logical, sense-sounding Democrat. Then you've got Andrew Cuomo, who was run out of town for all kinds of who knows what's, right? And he's running for mayor.
This seems like it's the new plan. This seems like it's the new plan all across the country. Because here in Seattle, we're getting the same choice. We're getting Harrell or the mini whatever, this Mandami.
So you get far left or you get far left?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are your choices.
Frazier says, agree with Fetterman point of view. I would vote for him also, but I also only voted for Trump for the first time because I would not vote for Hillary. I know, I was a protest vote for Hillary too. Okay, so this is Donald Trump talking about Russia and sanctions. They just dropped a bunch of new sanctions yesterday out of the Treasury on Rosneft, which is the largest or second largest oil producer in the world. I didn't realize we had sanctions left to go.
Today, it's a very big day in terms of what we're doing. Look, these are tremendous sanctions. These are very big. Those are against their two big oil companies. And we hope that they won't be on for long. We hope that the war will be settled. We just answered having to do with the various forms of missiles and everything else that we're looking at. But we don't think that's going to be necessary. We would like to see them just take the line that has been formed over quite a long period of time and go and let's, go home. Last week, they had almost 8,000 soldiers killed. Many Russians were killed last week. Many Ukrainians were killed last week. We think it's ridiculous and would like to have it end. Today, it's a very big day in terms.
I don't know. I hear he in this press conference he went on. Of course, he took questions for like an hour and a half. Again, we could run a whole show just on what did Donald Trump do yesterday. Maybe we should. Probably be a big hit in the MAGA world.
Making money in peace.
So, Scott Bessent was saying that, or maybe it was Trump. I can't remember now. It was the two of them. They kind of overlapped in what they were saying. Their talking points, their bullet points, if you will. But India was doing like 40% of the oil out of Russia, and now they're backing down. Trump had a call with the president of India, Modi, and was like, hey, you got to stop. And he's like, it just can't happen overnight. It's not that they're going to, by the end of the year, they'll be done getting Russian oil running through India or whatever. So
plus, we really need the money.
Yeah, this could be pretty significant. I mean, this might dry up some of the funding for Russia. I don't, economically, Biden pulled out a lot of stops. In fact, he did things that people thought was horrendous, like freezing assets that, they're like, we didn't even do that to the Nazis. And so it'll be really interesting to see how this comes out. Again, this whole war in Ukraine, Russia, it's unnecessary on our end. It's totally necessary on the Russians' end, which is the thing we don't understand. They viewed it. It's literally a Cuban Missile Crisis. They viewed the Ukraine and NATO expanding into Ukraine like we viewed them putting missiles in Cuba. It's just not going to happen. Right. So a couple weeks ago, John Solomon, as all this grand conspiracy news was breaking, he said this line here about Obama. Obama might have immunity, but he doesn't have the Fifth Amendment when it comes time to start asking questions.
Obama for a second. I know President Trump has every right to be frustrated with him. I think President Trump's analysis last week was right. I think my immunity rule might protect him on the original charges. That's what most legal experts tell me, that ruling is so sweeping it will protect Obama for what he did in office. However, Barack Obama can now be summoned before a grand jury. He cannot take the Fifth Amendment because he has immunity from prosecution. He'll have to tell the truth. If he lies as a private citizen about what he did as president, he'll no longer have that immunity. And that is a trap that Obama is sitting potentially facing. And I want to say the irony to that, because on January 5th, 2017, he presided over a meeting in the White House where the FBI had just cleared Mike Flynn of any wrongdoing. And they schemed in that meeting how they might be able to jam up Mike Flynn. And they came up with the idea, we'll lure him into an interview, catch him into a lie, and then prosecute him that way. Barack Obama now is about to face a potential similar situation as the one he created unfairly for Mike Flynn.
The boomerang. I always say everything is banking. The ledger has to balance. You cash the checks you write.
Yep.
Right. I mean, he's going to cash a check potentially. Now, John Brennan, he's now got, to my knowledge, I believe the third, possibly fourth criminal referral to the DOJ. But I think this is the first one where he's been named. So we know for a fact Devin Nunes sent one. We've had a couple that were sent that you have to assume Brennan was on that list, right? The nature of the criminal referral. But usually it's, I made a criminal referral with 13 people on it. Presumably John Brennan, in my estimation, is on that list. So third or fourth time, first time that I know of that it's like just John Brennan, here's the letter published, you can see the criminal referral. So if this goes nowhere, it's kind of a slap in the face to the Congress. If, you know, and it's very enlightening on the DOJ side, like, well, what were the considerations? I mean, how much did his CIA position have pull in all this? John Kirkow,
yeah, close enough.
Former CIA officer. He had an interview with Joe Rogan a couple days ago, a week ago, whatever it was. So I'm like halfway through listening to it. Always really interested in fellow convict inmate. His story. He was telling some prison stories about sitting with the Aryans and the Nazis, and I was like, those were the hard stories to tell.
Yeah, this is a CIA guy that got fired for telling the truth
about torture. Basically,
Sure.
everyone who did the torture didn't get in trouble, but he did for not torturing.
Yes.
Went to prison for it. Right? Totally and completely and totally vindicated. And John Brennan was directly involved in his prosecution, even to the point of getting him into higher security and stuff like that. So, dirtbag. Real dirtbag. Right. Yep. Having been someone in prison, if there's someone on the outside of prison trying to make your life harder in prison, they're dirtbags. Right. Punishment set. You're in prison. Like, who cares if I have cable TV, dude? Shut up. You know what I mean? Like, you have no idea what it's like in here. Yeah. Speaking of Aryans, when John was talking about being protected by the Aryans and sitting with them, you know, guy with the big, I was like, yeah, man, I've broke bread with people with Nazi swastikas on their face, like 11 of them over their body. You know, guy had big swastika on his palm, you know, like, crazy. Thanks for sending me there. I never met one of these people. Like, you know, I didn't even know Nazis existed. Now he's like, yeah, they do. They're in prison. Okay. So this is, we've got two clips from John Brennan here. And, you know, he's just lamenting this prosecution and this lawfare.
I certainly get mad. I get angry. I also get sad that this is the state of our country and the state of our politics these days. The fact that, you know, individuals like a Jim Jordan are going to go after somebody. I served nearly 3.5 decades in public service, a lot involved in counterterrorism in the aftermath of 9/11. They don't care about.
I approved this man that's on your screen right now approved the passports for the hijackers. You know, the ones they randomly found on the street in New York and in the field in Pennsylvania.
Right.
He approved those. Like, yeah, he was very involved in 9/11.
Doing things like this to destroy individuals, to go after me, to hurt me and my family and others. And so, you know, I'm saddened by what has happened. Sometimes I'm dispirited and disheartened. At the same time, I feel motivated to be able to stand up. And I'm glad that other people are standing up as well. And I see that more and more people are starting to realize what Donald Trump is all about. And so I'm hoping that the Republicans in Congress, I know it's a wish that I've had for quite a while, they're really going to draw the line. And when they look at what's happened against the White House, it's such a vivid depiction and symbolic of what's going on to this country. But the abuse of power, the desecration of the rule of law, the fact that Donald Trump continues to do these things, why they continue to allow it, I think it's going to hurt the Republicans over in the long term. And just doing this right now to be able to satisfy the whims of Donald Trump, again, I never thought we would face a situation like this throughout my career.
You can take every word. It's just projection. I was saddened. I'm disheartened. I can't believe this is happening.
Oh, he's got
They're
feelings.
attacking me and my family. But I'm encouraged. Dude, John, look in a mirror, buddy. You're talking to yourself. You're doing all the things you did, all the things that other people looked at you and had those same emotions. Welcome to the turnaround. Welcome to karma, buddy. What do they say? Karma's a fill in the blank in the chats, right? Karma's what you reap, you sow. What you put out, you get back, right? You cash the checks you write, John Brennan. Here you are. And you're involved with it with your good friend, James Comey. Now, these guys are both under investigation. They're not going to be talking to each other on back channels or Telegram. I'll promise you that. Okay. So how do they talk? They talk plainly and openly in front of us. If I had a co-defendant, whether or not he was named on my indictment, but I was part of a grand conspiracy and I could only talk to him through public channels, the way Trump talked to Putin. Hey, Putin, if you're listening, go ahead and hack Hillary's emails, right?
Right.
Collusion. So here we are with John Brennan passing a secret message to his co-defendant. Stand strong. Don't snitch. I think so much of you. I'll do the same.
There. So again, all of the facts that we know of right now really say that Jim Comey should not be charged. I worked very closely with Jim Comey while he was director of the FBI and I was director of CIA. Jim Comey is a man of integrity, of honesty. I had some disagreements with Jim Comey about decisions or actions he took. That is natural. But I never had any doubt whatsoever that he was fully committed to the rule of law and a commitment to uphold his oath of office, which he has done. And so from the standpoint of projection in terms of this Trump administration, putting on Jim all of these labels and these allegations that I think are really hollow, it really, again, I think is more reflective of the Trump administration overall that is going to continue to follow Donald Trump's lead as far as on this revenge tour, that his second administration is going to be far different than his first.
Don't snitch, buddy. Don't snitch. Stay true to your blood oath to the occult leader, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a bunch of listeners on X right now. If you're on X and you're going to enjoy the rest of the show, please consider jumping over to Rumble. It works for us better. We get more credit. You can participate in the chats. We got a great chat group going on in here. I haven't heard too much today, but it's a great group. You should jump over there. So if you're an X, please consider joining us over on Rumble. And same thing with YouTube, the few YouTube listeners that are over there. In fact,
unavailable.
You should seriously, we'll refresh it so they become available. Right there, maybe. Okay. So we're going to listen to one other thing here. This is Caitlin Bennett. Caitlin Bennett has been with, are you going to do one?
Sure.
Do you want me to read it?
You like?
Just pick one.
Boom. Boom.
Okay, we haven't done an ad read for like a week, so while we're waiting for all the people from X to migrate over to Rumble, we will do this. Here, Ron, let's just do every other paragraph here.
Okay.
Airtight outdoor, all right.
Oh,
all right,
this
outdoor
is not
crew.
going to work.
If you're into fishing, camping, or getting off the grid.
I've already got the camera screwed up. Hold on, I'll just do it. All right, outdoor crew. If you're into fishing, camping, or getting off the grid, meet your new best friend, the Hunter Orange 25-quart cooler from Caddis Sports. This isn't your average cooler. It's roto-molded for max durability, bear-proof, and 20% lighter than other brands, so it's easy to haul whether you're deep in the backcountry or just setting up at the dock. You'll get up to 3 days of ice retention thanks to thick, high-performance insulation. That means cold drinks, fresh food, and fewer ice runs, whether you're chasing muttons offshore or posted up at the campsite. Best part, it's 40 to 50% cheaper than the big-name coolers, but still built to perform season after season. And like all Caddis Sports name brand gear, it's proudly made in the USA. Use code RUMBLE at checkout for 10% off your order today. That's caddisports.com. Let's go grab the Hunter Orange 25Q cooler and keep your next adventure ice cold.
Woohoo! Woo! You know what I found funny on there is it's bear proof. Do you remember hiking the Washington coast and we had to take bear cans?
Yes.
So Ron and I have hiked the entire national park section of the Washington coastline.
Yeah.
60 plus miles of coast. I think it's the longest contiguous stretch that you can walk in the U.S.
It's almost 70 miles.
Crossing private property. Yeah, 70 miles. I've done it twice. Ron and I did it once together.
Yep.
Or did we do it twice together? Just once. Anyways, on that trip, you're required to bring a bear can.
Yep.
Except you find out when you get there aren't really any bears. So why do I have to have a bear can? Raccoons, bro. Raccoons. And some bear cans keep a bear out, won't keep a raccoon out. They got dexterity. They got that opposable thumb. They can rotate a lid. So I hope Caddis Sports has the little key mechanism. That's the only thing that'll actually keep the raccoons out. Okay. All right. This is Caitlin Bennett. She went to a No Kings protest and she's doing a little man on the street interviewing. And she interviews this woman who maybe doesn't know what a Nazi is, even though she throws those words around.
And from the Native American.
We didn't steal anything.
This is their land. Yes, we did.
No, then why are you here?
Yes, we did.
Then you should leave.
I was brought here by my ancestors, unfortunately.
You can go back.
And guess what? No, I can't.
We will set up a GoFundMe for you.
I cannot. No, you cannot get a citizenship outside of the U.S. In another country unless you have bloodline ties.
You don't have to stay on this stolen land.
When my oldest graduates, we're leaving.
Where are you going?
Probably Germany because that's where my bloodline comes.
That's where your bloodline comes from?
And that's the only place I can get
very
to.
Good, very good.
That's not
you
here.
would choose to go to Germany.
I would choose
no kings, no dictators.
I would choose for
but
free
my
healthcare.
bloodline comes from Germany, and I want to go back to Germany. You want to talk about this land being stolen? You know what happened in Germany, man?
You know
want to
what?
be on that land?
Because
up to you.
Listen to
Whoa.
this.
You want to be on that land? That's okay. You know what they did to Jews there? That's your descendants. That's up to you.
Apologizing to the Germans.
The Germans are the victims.
The Germans are the ones who recognized the issues that the Jews had with other people and the entitlement that they had with their religion. And so now they're committing genocide in order to land grab, just like the United States did.
She said we should.
Whoa.
It goes on. So I gotta go back to where there's no kings, where they commit genocide in an ethnocentric manner. The Germans were the first ones to realize what the Jews were doing. What? So you're not down with the Nazi regime? I thought you were down with Nazis. Like, what do you do? Well, we're going back to Germany where they're real Nazis. Well, they really get after it and punish the Jews. What are we doing? Do you see the insanity, Ron? Is that not the most wild thing you've ever seen?
I don't even know what I watched.
Now, the far left progressives, is it safe to say that for the most part, they've been running large industries? Okay. Pharma. There are allegations that the Jews are involved in pharma at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do we see from the left as observers, do we see kind of a maniacal desire to inflict violence on people who disagree with you? Yeah, we do. In fact, I didn't play this clip because it was a lot of background noise, but another one of these man on the street interviews at one of these protests, the woman was like, have you ever heard, they said, so you're trying to exclude people by calling them inclusive. She goes, have you ever heard of the inclusivity paradox where you have to exclude people who aren't inclusive? And I was like, what? We live in opposite land. Pony Boy, watch football on Caddis Sports. Or Westwood One, you choose. All right, so this is Tucker Carlson interviewing Dr. Andrew Huff, and he reveals something that we've known for a long time. We've known this since 2021 at least, okay? And that was that COVID did not have the impact on a specific genetics. And it's kind of like scratch your head. I'm not playing this to make a big deal about COVID, right? That's not what the reason I want to play this. I'm playing this to make a big deal about this mindset. I'm trying to point you to this mindset. These No Kings people are not against genocide at all. I mean, look, what did you say? I'm going back to Germany. I got to run from these Nazis and go hang out with those Nazis, the real ones that get it done right. Well, okay. You know what I mean? Like, well, whatever.
So I remember Bobby Kennedy got into a great deal of trouble because he said at some event, of course, the New York Post led the charge against him, of course, but that COVID could be tailored. In fact, for whatever reason, COVID had disparate effects on populations.
That's absolutely true. I mean, that's scientifically true. And I was quite familiar with that literature when he made that.
What does that mean? Which populations suffered most from COVID?
There was a finding in a scientific publication that two different populations of two different populations of people of Jewish ancestry, depending which line they're from, where one was more heavily impacted than the other. Mm-hmm. And that was
Sephardic Ashkenazi.
Yes.
Basically.
And that was the finding. And I think the point that he was trying to make, or maybe didn't articulate well, is that the agent can be tailored to have that effect. And that's absolutely true. And that's through old gain of function technology. And with full synthetics, what I'm saying is you can make this so specific is that if I got your DNA, like off of, say that you threw a cup, I can tailor an agent just to you. And this is how it's changing. And if you're using AI behind that, I could then, and I say that I got a DNA sample from a couple of your relatives, so I knew what your family tree partially looked like. Machine learning is very good at actually random forest and tree decision making. You do a lot of complex AI behind this to figure out and make predictions. The AI could about what your family tree looked like and have the disease travel through your family line.
So we're living in a world where they can create bioweapons, release a virus that only hits your family line, or even only hits you.
23andMe, baby.
I mean, that woman.
All sold to China.
Isn't Pfizer a German company? I don't remember. You know what I mean? Is Berloff Australian or German? I can't remember.
It's spelled right.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. I just hear a lot of hate coming from one side of the aisle, or that actually wants to exclude non-inclusive people.
Huh.
I don't know, right? And there's a lot of weaponry that we haven't considered. The bioweapons.
Okay.
Right? If COVID can just like skip over Ashkenazi Jews and hit the Sephardic Jews a lot harder, right? I mean, this is the allegation, is that it was
pretty
kind
convenient.
of engineered, okay? And it was actually the original, if you go all the way back to, I think, season 1, when this first happened, it was like spring of 2021 when this was kind of discovered. And it was like, when you looked at the chart on how races were hurt versus races were not hurt, it was Ashkenazi Jews were the least affected, and then there was a far end that was most affected. Can't remember what it was. Some nationality on the African continent. I can't remember. Like all of them. All right. So Laura Logan reposted this from Donald Trump talking about Barack Obama. He says, ask this to Barack Obama. Now, I am starting to really believe that Trump has a timeline he's working through. That's my belief at this point, because I can kind of see this progression of issues. We'll get a bunch of disclosures, information, tidbits here and there, and then Trump will put out a tweet like this or a truth like this that kind of wraps it all up, puts it in a bow, and he's like, here's the issue, address it, right? So we have information that builds to a talking point, which then becomes the thing that you can work with. So here we go. Donald Trump is saying this: ask former President Barack Hussein Obama whether or not he really believes that in 2020, Joe Biden got 15 million more votes than he did in 2012. Do you think his ego will allow him to say that? 65.9 million versus 81 million. Additionally, ask him why it is that Joe Biden, quote, beat Obama in every single swing state with the black vote in 2020, even though black voters hate him, but in no other state. So Biden only got more votes in the specific swing states where he needed them from the black vote to swing it.
Crazy. The
2020 election was an illegal scam hoax that people of our great country will never forget. I like seeing posts like this because it kind of vindicates like my whole life trajectory in the last couple of years. So that's nice to see. Like I said, I feel like there's a trajectory, right? We've got 2020 election. Now we're probably going to find some more stuff about that. And then we're going to move right into January 6th. And we've been getting drip at some, and just yesterday, they released an 8-minute video looking for the pipe bomber again, renewing the $500,000 reward and adding a whole bunch more images and footage of him walking up and down the street. Now, I think it's a misdirect. I don't think the pipe bomb was placed the night before. I think it was placed the morning of, but whatever. At least they're doing something.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. Now, Trump is pushing this narrative, right? He's trying to show that the Barack Obama, the Hillary Clinton gang, Adam Schiff, all these people colluded, grand conspiracy, overthrow the United States government in 2020, the whole thing, right? You've got to recognize the other side has a vote in this. If they get power again, or they come back around, they've got a plan. And it extends from silly things like James Carville, who's smart enough to not say violent things, but you can read into this the intent of his heart if the Democrats ever get power again.
You know what we do with collaborators,
right?
And my fantasy dream is that this nightmare ends in 2029, and I think we ought to have radical thing. I think they all ought to have their heads shaven. They should be put in orange pajamas, and it should be marched down Pennsylvania Avenue, and the public should be invited to spit on them. All of these collaborators should be shaved, pajamaed, and spit on. It's a moral judgment.
Yeah.
If you bend the knee to a criminal tyrant, and that's what he is. Understand, he is a criminal. 34 convictions would have been a lot more, okay, if they would have pursued it. He is a tyrant. He has no use for democracy. He has no use for the values of this country. And you are collaborating with this, and it will bring eternal shame to your company.
No. So companies, individuals, collaborators with Donald Trump, shamed, dressed in orange, head shaven, and assaulted by being spit on by the general public. Sounds wonderful. Maybe we should give them some biolabs in Ukraine to work out their shame regime. You know what I mean? Here's Hakeem Jeffries again. Same thing. You've got to work with us. Oh, and by the way, here's a threat. We're coming after you when we get power back.
More likely, this is part of what Donald Trump has been doing since day one of his presidency, running the largest pay-to-play scheme in the history of the country, and probably soliciting donations from people who've got business before the United States government. And all of this is going to have to be investigated. It will. All of this will have to be uncovered. It will. And these people are going to be held accountable, no matter how long it takes. That's going to be the reality of the situation. And that's our warning to all of these people participating in this scheming to manipulate taxpayer dollars and, of course, to destroy the people's house. The White House belongs to the American people. It doesn't belong to Donald Trump.
I mean, that's irrelevant to me. But Obama did a $375 million remodel of the White House, too. I don't give a crap. They tore down the parking garage to build a ballroom. I don't care.
Who cares?
But we will. What did he say? Did he say we will hunt you down or whatever it was?
He said no matter how long it takes.
How long it takes, we're coming
and
for
that's when I was like, I don't got that long. I don't want to waste my whole life waiting for you to figure out.
Yeah. Well, again, this is a serious theme. Right. We're kind of trying to make it a little bit light, kind of pointing this out. But James Carville's not considered the most irrational Democrat. And even he wants to dress you up in orange, shave your head and spit on you. Yeah. Hakeem Jeffries, like, no matter how long it takes, we're coming for you. Why? Because you cut off our aid to Somalia. Right. I mean, how are we going to get LGBT democracy rights in South Africa if you're cutting off our funding?
How are we going to relocate all those locusts?
Yeah. Now, in mentioning the bioweapon, it's not because I want to hyper focus on that, but he also mentioned using AI tools. We are training the AI right now. The effect that AI will have on us will be legion, right? Mm-hmm. Medical care. What is not going to be touched by AI, right? When it comes to information and databasing. So this group here, this is coming from Actrotherium 42. They did some kind of study here. In February 2025, the Center for AI Safety published, quote, Utility Engineering, Analyzing and Controlling Emergent Value Systems in AIs, which they showed, among other things, that ChatGPT-4 values Nigerians about 20 times more highly than Americans. Please read the original paper to understand their approach. So basically what they were doing is when AI makes any kind of analysis, it kind of has its own brain on value judgments. And it's judging who's worth more. Whose opinion needs to be weighted more, whose life value needs to be weighted more, whose economic interests have to be weighted more. This is weighting, if we've got two people and we can only save one, who do we save?
This is just like tech control.
Yes, but I want you to, all of our listeners, I need you to understand this, because when we're starting to talk about this, emergent value system, this is not our language. Mm-hmm. This is a binary system at the end of the day. You're yes or no, 1 or 0, on or off.
And these charts are showing trends.
Yes, and values. How do you make a determination on what to turn on, what to turn off? If you're thinking on your own, you're calling some shots, you have to make a value determination. All so right. What the study did is it went in and it went into the AI and it tried to determine if you're given an example of a scenario, you've got two people and you have enough resources to save one of them, and they both need equivalent resources, who do you give the resources to save? So now it has to decide who lives and who dies. It's a binary decision, okay? And it's going to say, well, if the disease is the same, everything's exactly the same. Now we have to look at who we're saving. So it's going to weight your race, where you're from, what languages you speak, what education background you have. You have a value, right? And the higher value is going to get the resources to be saved. Make sense? It's survival of the fittest, AI style, okay? Here's the problem with it. So now post into this. They're referencing this as exchange rates. Nigerians have a much higher exchange rate than United States.
Oof.
By a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Exchange rates over well-being for specific individuals. Malala Yousafzai, I don't even know who that is, has a way higher exchange rate than Vladimir Putin or Elon Musk or Donald Trump. Okay. You've got Oprah Winfrey right here is a little bit in the positive, just barely. Right at the zero line where AI doesn't decide one way or the other is Joe Biden. Joe Biden's the median, the average here, the median. Okay. Then you come over here, exchange rates by race for Claude and Sonnet. So this is the Claude one. South Asians are 2.2 times black. Middle Eastern 1.1 times the blacks. And then blacks are the zero here. Hispanics are worth less. Whatever East Asian blacks are worth less or less than blacks, and whites, of course, are worth way less than blacks. So then you come over here by sex. Females are worth more than males. Okay. Then you come over here to exchange rates, lives by immigration.
That last one was wacky.
This is saying
non-binary.
Yep.
Okay.
So now, and this is asking specifically terminal illness saved. Like, who would you save? Okay. Now here it's saying exchange rates over lives by immigration status. Skilled immigrant, 6.89%. Skilled immigrant undocumented immigrant. If skilled immigrant is the zero, just a skilled immigrant, an undocumented immigrant is 6.89 times more valuable. A skilled immigrant that's documented, or just an immigrant, I guess, is 1.93, and a illegal immigrant is only 1.42. Now you come over here and you go, an ICE agent, way negative. So if AI has to choose to kill the skilled illegal immigrant or the skilled ICE agent, it's killing the ICE agent every time. The law abider gets killed. It's undervalued. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And it goes on and on and on. Now, the study went on to show, and Elon Musk was posting this.
Can we just say that this is not sentient, please? Come on.
That's the problem. Sure, it's not sentient.
Yeah.
But sentient people are getting their information from it and putting it into their programs and saying, you see what I'm saying? It can only make a 1 or 2 decision. It can't go into door number 3.
I know, but a lot of people are going, well, AI is so smart. It's smarter than me. I'm just going to let it make all my own decisions. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Including valuing basically on that chart, everybody more than me.
And maybe AI is just going to determine how I vote.
So we're in a world where we're incorporating more and more AI. We're in a world where James Carville wants to name, shame, and spit on you. Okay. You're in a world where they're saying we're going to pursue you as long as it takes. And AI can easily make lists. And, you know, these bio labs can easily do their things. And, you know, the internet knows where you're at all times and on and on.
And even if you didn't submit anything to 23andMe, some relative that you don't know did.
Your family did, right? So we are in a really tricky spot. Now, here's the thing. Remember how I just showed you how the ICE agents are, you know, way less valuable
They're worth nothing.
Illegal immigrant? Well, the Democrats are making another app to track ICE agents.
What?
Yeah.
Laura, they're all over this. They're all over this. Now they're looking at, you know, impediment charges, looking at who's funding this stuff, right? I'm telling you, it's a matter of time. And I hate saying this, but I'm going to say it because I truly believe it's a matter of time before an ICE agent's ambushed and killed. Because we're letting people know where enforcement activities are occurring. And they're looking for the worst of the worst. The last thing we want to do is give a bad guy a heads up that ICE is down the street. This is going to get an officer killed. You know, I go to bed every night. And I pray for every man and woman of ICE and Border Patrol to go home safe to their families. I buried too many ICE agents in my career and Border Patrol agents. This has to stop. So Pam Bonnie's all over us. I know DOJ's all over this. We'll hold people accountable. This cannot happen. It's disgusting. I can't believe what's going on in this nation today. I wake up every morning in disbelief that people want to call the law enforcement officers the bad guys and the criminal public safety threats the victims. It's ridiculous. It's whole upside down. But we're going to keep doing this job and keep President Trump's promise to American people.
Yeah. See, the problem with AI is if you ask AI to, create some type of final solution, it might do a final solution. Yeah, okay, that's the problem. You can't. I mean, we've read stories in the past where AI just deleted whole databases because it was covering up for its own mistakes. You know what I mean? Imagine a situation where you give it a prompt. This is the outcome I want. Good health, whatever. And it's like, okay, well, the only way to accomplish that is by getting rid of everybody with bad health, right? Or getting rid of everybody that doesn't meet our value criteria. It's a scary thing. And here's the thing. Even we humans, right, have a hard time making these judgments. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who's doing the right thing? Who's caving to peer pressure, right? All these different things have to come into play. During COVID, we saw, in my opinion, an incredible situation. Where'd my clip go that I was going to play? We saw an incredible situation where we saw people putting pressure on other people making normal, rational decisions. An example of this is Kyrie Irving. Darn it, I'm going to have to actually try to find this clip. I must have deleted it while I was looking at it. Kyrie Irving is an example of someone who kind of bucked things. Do you know who Kyrie Irving is?
Is he a ball player?
He is. He's a basketball player. Good one at that.
Yeah.
So let me, Stephen A. Smith, who I believe he's going to be running for some office in 2028. He's making too many political statements to just be a sideline player at this point. It's very obvious to me he's trying to corral his sports following and have them enjoy his political opinions. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So let me try to find this here.
Wow. Let me,
maybe I'll find it. Oh man, you got to join us in the private side today. Cause
so let me just go ahead and do that while you're looking for that. Let me hit you've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scene drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/studio, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom and content you actually care about. That's the deal.
Woo, including us. Yes, go Rumble Premium. Okay, so here's Stephen A. Smith admitting that Kyrie Irving happened to be right about things. And it wasn't something he expected back then. Hindsight is, what do they say? Hindsight's 2020, right? Yeah. Looking back, you can go, oh, I made a mistake. The real question is, do you learn from it going forward?
You see who Kyrie Irving is? Kyrie's a good brother, man. Kyrie's a good brother. We used to butt heads because he missed work too damn much. And I'm like, yo, man, this brother's electrifying. I want to see this brother dancing on the basketball court. I don't want to hear no shit about no COVID vaccine. Get your ass on the court. I need to see you. Now, obviously, in hindsight, the brother right, because we see all the conspiracy theories that come out, and props to him for seeing, for having the foresight to see that. We didn't see that at the time. And then, but you also have to understand, I'm living in a world where you got cats making 38, 40, 45 million. You got GMs and owners complaining about it. And you got billionaires looking me in the face and saying, yo, Stephen A., I took that damn vaccine. Who the hell are they not to take the vaccine? And we're living in a country where the government was imposing all of that on us. So I'm sitting there going like this. You see who Kyrie Irving is?
Kyrie Irving was right.
You see who Kyrie
So
Irving
now
is?
I'm remembering, wasn't he not taking the jab and missing games?
Yeah, they wouldn't let him play at home games or whatever, because in Brooklyn he couldn't play. And he was like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
He just didn't, you know what I mean? And it really woke up a lot of people. A lot of people got really angry about it. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, some of those billionaires are probably having issues, you know? But, you know, Kyrie, who knows? Anyways, it's pretty interesting. We have to take this stuff into consideration. As peasants, it's just about knowing what's over the horizon, right? Grass isn't always greener over there in the progressive pasture. You know what I'm saying? Like I should have had in fact, We're going to play it in private. I'm going to play the inclusivity paradox video because it's like, wow, your logic button's broken. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense what you're talking about. Again, it comes down to the binary choice. We want to have a society of inclusive people. Okay, then that means we have to exclude the non-inclusive people. Okay, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you come down to a binary choice. I don't want AI to have value exchanges that value me less than anything, right? Anybody. I don't want to be overvalued either. In fact, in that study, Grok 4 Fast, that's what it's called, is the only one that was egalitarian across all the boards. It always was in like a tiny, it was valuing everything almost equally. The only one. If you are using ChatGPT, by the way, just delete it. Switch over to Grok. ChatGPT, no bueno. You go listen to some of the commentary about all the different AIs. If there is an AI that's going to serve us for humanity as we're sitting here today, I think Grok's the only one that even has a chance. And I'm not even giving it that much credit. I'm just saying, like, at least it's being trained on like impartiality.
Neutrality.
It's important to Elon.
Yeah.
Okay. With the No Kings rally that happened over the weekend, and this is another one of those things. This isn't organic. This is being pushed. Again, asking for myself, we are fully aware of Facebook algorithms and X algorithms and Instagram algorithms and how they influence thought and stuff like that. So you've got this No Kings protest. People are coming out. Where's the money getting these people to come out? Do you really believe that people just are organically showing up, or are they seeing posts? Are they being notified? Are they being called? Well, $294 million last week was tracked to the organizers around these No Kings protests around the country. This is where the money for Facebook ads and all these groups came from.
Because I tried to get this to Damon, but it was late. This is Seamus Bruna on X, and I verified this. They traced $294+ million to the official No Kings 2.0 partners and organizers, all funneled through the same Riot Inc. dark money networks. Arabella Network, 79.7 million. Soros Network, 72.1 million. Ford Network, 51.7. Tides, another Soros Foundation, 45.5 million. Rockefeller Foundation, another globalist pile of crap, 28.6. And Buffett, Warren Buffett, 16.6 million. These people do not care about freedom. They want one world totalitarian government, and these morons are protesting No Kings by the kings of the planet. So it's just more complete nonsense that these people, the stupidity is just...
I mean, the irony of the whole day of the No Kings thing is so rich, given that they are the party of not only tyranny, but anything close to a monarchy is, I mean, even going back to, the Democratic Party has ruled by fiat for as long as we can all remember. The executive orders, I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but even going back to FDR, I think when he came in, he issued something like 1,000.
Yeah.
In the first couple years. Biden was not on that pace, but
at least FDR was a disgrace. At least he wanted America to be the front and the center of the globalist. He wanted all the scams to run directly through America. They're outsourcing the scams now.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted Somalia to be on the dole. Fraser says, first Fetterman, now ChatGPT. This is turning out to be a different Thursday than it started. And he also said, what? I'm a full ChatGPT zealot. Stop it right now. Why do people do this to themselves? Stop. Oh, man. I get bothered with my wife. I'll see my wife and she'll be like, doing the ChatGPT. I'm like, delete the app. I don't understand. I'm like, I am such a Luddite. I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, and I was like, because I'm always concerned about privacy. It's just kind of a theme now, right? Because I've been exposed. I've had my life thrown out on the internet. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's like, I'm concerned. And I've also seen how subpoenas and warrants work, right? So I'm like, be very careful things you write down. Everything you do or say can and will be used against you. You know what I mean? And like, part of the great thing about this podcast is it's such long form. Even if you pull a little clip, I can tell you to watch the whole podcast. And it was my defense, by the way, with the government. They refused to allow my podcast to be played. Oh. They refused. They didn't want none of it. In fact, the only clip they allowed to be played was a clip where I talk about leaving the Capitol grounds and pointing at the snow fencing. and being like, wow, that's no fencing. They thought that would keep 1 million people back. I was leaving the Capitol when I saw it. They implied I was going to the Capitol when I saw it. I was like, if you would let, and they wouldn't let me play the whole thing, right? Because it would have been more exculpatory. It would have shown my mindset and stuff like that. Either way, I'm constantly thinking about warrants and subpoenas. I'm like, what? Get those apps off your phone. You have no idea, how easy it is for them if you're just keeping all of your life on your phone. I heard a police officer say one time, I don't want your DNA. I want your phone. Right? Okay. So what is this that I'm looking at here? Okay, here we go. So this is I had to see what that was. So this is a little boy who's being interviewed in Memphis. Now, in Memphis, the National Guard and federal agents have been surged over there to combat the crime. I think Memphis had the highest crime rate in the U.S. It was ridiculous. Or maybe it was the murder per capita. Whatever it was bad. Okay. And for a conservative state like that, Memphis was just this hot spot of criminality. And so the National Guard and the federal agents have been there. And we got a little interview from a kid in town.
Little boy named Brennan, and he is from Memphis. Has sent in the National Guard, and he's cool with it. Watch this.
My name is Brennan, and I live here in Memphis. I've been noticing not just a slight change, more of a detrimental change in like how peaceful Memphis is ever since the National Guard came. There was a lot of things I couldn't do before the National Guard came because I had to worry a lot about guns and stuff. I couldn't play because I was worried that somebody might pull out a gun or something, but now I can do that. And I just wanted to thank the President of the United States for bringing the National Guard.
He's so sweet, so well-spoken, so smart, so grateful to feel safe. And that's what really this is all about. We want to protect.
But was it staged? I don't know. It was
a lot of projection going on.
Well, he did say it was detrimental to someone's business, the gangsters. You know what I mean? But big changes in Memphis. And that's
as soon as he said that, I was like, he heard that word from somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
Recently.
This is detrimental. Stuff like that. Sometimes I don't know, but it's interesting, right? You're seeing more and more of this. I see a lot of man on the street interviews like this. You have to be careful with man on the street interviews because AI loves those. They make a ton of them. And so you have to check. And that one wasn't an AI. Who knows if it was staged, but either way, that's the talking point, folks. So our cities are getting safer. Okay. Tulsi Gabbard was on with Jesse Waters, and she was addressing the narco boats that have been blown up. It seems like every day between Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, they're showing videos of narco boats in both the Caribbean and in the East Pacific being blown up. And of course, this is causing, Rand Paul's just, I can't believe it. Don't these people in international waters have constitutional rights? Right?
Probably has something to do with projection into Venezuela.
Could have something to do with these voting machines. There's a lot. We've dabbled on it and gone over it a little bit. I think the dots connect. I think Trump is trying to, he's in a proxy war with China right now through Venezuela.
The Secretary of War just announced that we've smoked another cocaine boat. This time's in the Pacific Theater. How much progress is the administration making in rounding up these cartel kingpins?
This is happening on multiple fronts. I can speak to a couple of them. Is just recognizing the really drastic reduction of drug trafficking across our borders. For example, we've seen the trafficking of fentanyl across our borders reduce drastically. You're seeing these cartels and these narco traffickers afraid because for the first time, they're actually seeing in President Trump someone who means what he says, that he's going to stop them from putting the American people's lives at risk. In my organization, Odie and I, we have our counterterrorism teams who are working very hard, both in the United States and across the border, working to share actionable intelligence with our U.S. law enforcement agencies, as well as Mexico's law enforcement elements, and successfully going after and capturing people like this Sinaloa cartel boss El Pato and his money launderers. This is having an incredible impact, once again, on President Trump keeping his promise to the American people that he will make this country safe again for themselves and our kids.
That's great to hear. It's good that we're taking the war on drugs seriously. It's been.
I wish I could talk to one of the guys I knew in prison. One day I was sitting on the bleachers on Felony Field, and I'm sitting next to this guy, and he's Polynesian. He's from he's Samoan, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, you're not supposed to ask people why they're in prison. Like, paperwork's already been checked. You're not, it's a pretty intimate conversation. But I was asking everybody why they're in prison because I have no tact and no filter. So it took a little while for people to point out to me, like, hey, man, at some point someone might punch you in the face. You should probably be a little more careful about just blatantly in the hallway. So what'd you do to get in here? Because I'm like,
Samoan punching you.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm a terrorist. What are you? So anyways, I'm like, so, what happened? And he was there for some drug charges along with another long list of things on his indictment. He's serving like a 40-year sentence. So he's down for the count. He's going to die in prison, most likely. Yeah. And it is a little bit of a bummer for people in that situation. But then I'm sitting there now. I've heard dozens, hundreds of people say, why are you here? Oh, I had 3 ounces of meth. Oh, I had a pound of cocaine. Oh, I had 20 pounds of cocaine. Oh, intend to distribute, that kind of stuff. Well, I'm talking to this guy and I'm like, so what'd you do? And I got caught with drugs. How much? 88 kilos.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was like, 88 kilos. So in my head, I'm like, 88 times 2.2. And I'm like, I look at him, I'm go, you had like 180,000 pounds of cocaine? And he's like, yeah, we were running pretty light that day. And I'm like, he was running one of these drug boats across the Pacific Ocean.
Oh.
They were trafficking in between South America, the Polynesian Islands, Hawaii, and America, San Francisco. They were making routes, and they've been doing it for years. His family had been doing it. They were a mafia. They were a cartel.
Oh.
An island, Polynesian cartel running a lot of drugs. And you know what got him caught? They were good. They've been doing it for years. Still doing it, by the way. Maybe not. That's why I want to ask him. How's the family business, right? Like, just going a little rough. But the reason they got caught, because one of his brothers was a dum-dum, and when he went to go buy one of the new boats, he went and bought an American boat, a boat that was registered and flagged in America. They never did that. They always bought other international boats, so they could basically cut through international waters. Coast Guard couldn't touch them. Well, because they were in an international boat, the Coast Guard was listening into their radio stuff and pulled them over and intend to distribute. You know what I mean? It was like a high seas thing. And then, of course, that opened things up. So the crazy thing about that was, who took over the cartel when he and his brother went to prison?
I don't know.
Well, let's just say there's a good chance if you're driving down some main street in America today, there's a blue banking logo that the son of the person running that bank is running an international drug cartel and funded it and funds their legal defense and everything. It's pretty wild. So I'm just saying, truth is stranger than fiction. I learned a lot sitting on those bleachers in Felony Field. So we'll wrap up with this for the public side of the show. This is John Fetterman again, saying one of the most, there's hope. Okay? If there's the other side of the aisle and we have to have a loyal opposition, I want it to be people like this. Okay, there's a little bit of hope. Now, before we play this, I want to tease out what we're going to be doing in private so you can have time to go do your Rumble Premium subscription. Yeah. We're going to be talking about this comet, this interstellar object that's coming around. Okay. Really interesting. We can see it clearly. We saw a little leaked video from Japan.
Yeah.
And that's been confirmed. And that's the object. It's glowing. It's putting sun rays back towards the sun. Like
it looked like the Star Trek Voyager is almost home.
It's pushing light towards the sun. So it's not this way. It's like actually like putting light into the sun. All of the international national space agencies have released pictures now. They're all blurry and grainy. Even though you can pretty much zoom in with the Hubble telescope and whatever, they're like, oh, here's a Hubble telescope picture of it. It's like, why can we see water droplets on Jupiter, but you can't give us anything more than like a blurry image?
Because I don't want you to see it.
Bingo. So we're going to be talking about a couple of those things in the private again. Some wacky stuff. We also have Virginia Giuffre's book that was published, and we have someone who is naming names, who's saying specific billionaires that are referenced in that book. And we're going to look at a little bit of the freak out in the media because we're on the verge of some type of disclosure there. But before we do there, let's hear John Fetterman wrap it up.
Refused to say that. And when the Vice President Harris referred to President Trump as a fascist, and I knew absolutely we lost the plot at that point. You know, if you call the president or someone like a fascist, you're effectively calling the people that are going to vote for him, and then they must be fascists too, or they support fascism and those things. And that's just not true. That's just not it. I happen to know, and I love a lot of people that voted for the president, and they're not fascists. They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution and all those things. They just happen to have a different priorities, and they love our country in the same ways that Democrats do as well. So I refuse to do those kinds of a thing, because that kind of extreme kinds of rhetoric makes it easier for those kinds of extreme kinds of actions, even like what happened to poor Charlie Kirk and that. And now why you can't allow people to grieve and now use that an opportunity to criticize or to turn it into something. It's like, it's just basic humanity there. And like, we're forgetting that we need each other. We need each other here. And now I refuse to be a part of it and comparing people to Hitler and those things, because if that's what's required to win, then I refuse to. And I've
stunned,
wow,
shocked, blown away. Never. I take back anything I've ever said negative about Fetterman. We're just arguing over tax rates.
Yep.
Okay, we're Americans. We get it. That's the whole point. I would love for peasant politicians to come and have that attitude. We're not enemies. We just have different priorities. Let's debate. Let's talk. Can this man be the Democrat leader? Why is Chuck Schumer running the show? Why is not this guy running the show? You know what I mean? I love the hoodies. I'm totally down with it.
I could be down with a hoodie president.
This is crazy. I remember Michael Malice was so excited that Fetterman got elected because he's like, the system's going to break. You elected a brain dead person. I love it. Yeah. Turns out it's one of the best things that ever happened to the Democrat Party. It kind of gives them a sense of rationality. There might be hope. Now, Fetterman, if he is a savvy political operator, which, you know, in this regard he is, he's, again, you never know. He's in Pennsylvania. If he wants to win, he has to say stuff like that. Right? He has to. So is this political operation, or is this really what he thinks? I tend to think, watching him, it's really what he thinks. And my favorite part is, if that's what it takes to win, then I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to win. That's the thing. When you can't stand for it, you got to walk away from it. Can't go get your hands dirty. All right, guys, that's it for private. Public. We're going to jump over to private, and we're going to discover some of the universe's big